Hello, mis amores. How we doing? I'm doing accordingly. Actually, I had no idea you still heard it as much as you do, but we're gonna get through it together. As if I want you to fight through this video. I did just chop one of the recipes that I was about to make because I was like, maybe rest a little bit more, but I'm fine. Actually, I'm not fine because I've only just seen a TikTok of an author with a platform, on a platform, saying that PETA from the Hunger Games is an unnecessary character. And I'm just like, you're an author. I feel like you need to have some sort of reading comprehension. Have you read the novels? And even if not, have you seen the movies? Otherwise, with the movies, I understand it a little bit more, but if you've read the books, you would not call PETA an unnecessary character, even though if for some reason you're Team Gale in what isn't even a romance novel. Anyway, didn't want to go there, but that's what's been bothering me. You asked. Actually, I made you ask. Actually, I asked. Well, now that we're up to date, today we're actually gonna make nice things. Hopefully, we will find out, because I have come across this really old German recipe that looked like not nice, to say the least. It looked like a brain. I was just wondering, why would you want to eat that? And why did we come up with that? That then made me want to try some more old German recipes that I have never really made myself. Two of the recipes I have tried, even though one only just recently. And the second one never homemade. Actually, the first one either. Anyway, you're on board? Should we do that? Because like old recipes are kind of fun to rediscover. Not that I've ever discovered them. My parents aren't really into cooking. They did like the bare minimum. So I don't really have like any family recipes except for like my father's bolognese, but I don't eat meat. And also my grandparents died too early for them to like teach me any recipes, or actually for me to connect any recipes or foods with them, really, except for like Leberwurst. But I don't really want to make Leberwurst right now. We will get started with the first one, which I have a connection to after all, because I am a big fan of any sort of dumpling, and this is our German version. So the one that we are gonna make is called maltaschen. Basically, it's a big ravioli. I'm just gonna make it to find out if they are different to actual ravioli. Technically, the typical one has like a meaty filling as well, like a spinach meaty filling. We have veggie alternatives that I'm gonna put in. Because like honestly, finding savory old German recipes is impossible if you're veggie. So we have to substitute. But first, we gotta make the dough because it has to rest. Making half the recipe. Make more if you want to. You're your own boss. 200 grams of flour. Just washed my hands because a good German goes in there with his hands. And I am a good German. Make a little well in the middle. Then we add salt. Apparently about half of a soup spoon, because that's what we use to measure things sometimes in Germany. Also, half a soup spoon of neutral oil and 2 eggs. Use the spoon first. Okay. Maybe a little bit more oil. Maybe a little bit more oil. Finally, we've got a dough that we now have to cover with some foil. And this we're gonna let rest in the fridge for 15 to 20 minutes. In the meantime, we can make another dough, but that's for recipe number 2, so never mind, let's make the filling. Here's everything you need for the filling. Half an onion, half a green onion, bratwurst, 100 grams, and bacon. I got the cubed kind because we're gonna have to do that anyway. This looks sad. I've never tried this brand. We'll see. It doesn't smell good. Has a lot of protein though, so you win some, you lose some, you know. About 1 old Brötchen. This is an old but it is a Brötchen. 50 milliliters of lukewarm milk, 1 egg, 20 grams of butter, salt, a pinch of nutmeg, a pinch of white pepper, half a soup spoon of marjoram, and half a soup spoon of parsley, and some more egg white for coating. 100 grams of frozen spinach. 100 grams doesn't look like a lot. I don't make the rules, I just follow them. Before we continue, we have to do this to get rid of any excess water in there. Maybe I'll do that somewhere else. Firstly, we gotta cube our Brötchen. I'm not sure you can find a very German Brötchen somewhere else. You know you're doing it right when you've got crumbs flying around everywhere. Now I'm just gonna bring my milk to a lukewarm temperature. Unfortunately, and I wish we didn't have to do it, that's what we're gonna put our Brötchen cubes into. I don't know if that's enough milk. Just beautiful. Set that aside. Maybe that is why I introduce him to, well, the bacon we've already done. Now we're just gonna fry our onion in the 20 grams of butter. Then just set aside the onions. And guys, it turns out that you don't need a bratwurst. You just need the meat that is inside the bratwurst. And I didn't really know how to do that with my veggie version of it because it doesn't very weirdly seasoned. Maybe I can sort of I don't know, do something like this to This actually does work, it's just very dry. Which, actually is quite good for a filling. Now that it looks extra questionable, we can continue. It tells me to now continue with the dough before we make the filling, but I'm just gonna finish the filling and then finish the dough. Way smarter. Sometimes Germans aren't. We basically just have to mix all of the ingredients. And yes, I'm using this dirty bowl that I've used for the dough. This is where we put our spinach into, our little blob, the onions, our questionable Brötchen. Hello, get in there. Bacon. This. And now just all of our spices. So, salt, always. Then the white pepper. I'm actually gonna add more of everything because we know German and spices. What about the egg? Well, I guess no egg. But then again, does it come together without the egg? Probably not. Actually, we don't want it any more liquid than this, do we? This seems well enough. I guess we just use the egg white later. But first, we got to take care of the dough. That was way too much flour. We're looking for about 2 millimeter thickness. My dough seems wrong. See, I never had that issue with ravioli. I know, it's springy. 2 millimeters is actually quite thick, 10 by 15 centimeters. So they are quite big. We're gonna have 2. You know what? Surely that's gonna work. Quickly, we have to fill them because they're shrinking. Ooh, Shrinking, great TV show. One of the few good recent TV shows, so you should watch it. Okay, let's start with this ugly one, yeah? About 1 soup spoon of the filling and 1/2 of the dumpling, the maltasche. Oh, we need egg white. Whoopsies. I'm sorry guys, today my head's all over the place, but my heart's still... Anyway, you just put a little bit of egg white on the border so that it sticks, Then you do this, and then you put it all together. A maltasche. Beautiful. Now, if you've got one of these fancy rolling thing, then you can make the edges look pretty as well. I do not, so we just do this. I'll just continue my maltaschen making. All of my beautiful maltaschen are done. We've got 8. Of course you wonder, how are we gonna cook them, Vincent? I'll tell you, patience. You just need 750 milliliters of veggie broth. The ready-made kind, And that's what we're gonna boil them in. Ta-da! I also like to add a little bit of garlic and onion to it. Well, and then we just put in our maltaschen and let them sit in there for 10 to 15 minutes. And I wonder, It's already full, so we also turned down the temperature. We want a little bit of a bubble. It's very crowded in here now. Anyway, 10 to 15 minutes. Finally, we made it. That took forever, or at least in my mind. I think mainly because I had to take so many breaks for different reasons, but we've made it. Don't expect too much because it's not exactly pretty. Ta-da! How do you know if they're cooked though? You typically take a couple of your dumplings and then just pour some of the broth on top so that you've got a soup. You can put a bit of dill or some more onion on top. I'm just here for the maltaschen, honestly. Maybe I'd rather have ravioli right now. I don't know, the dough just seems so thick. We'll see how it tastes, right? That's all that matters, really. That was just dough. See, that's the thing about them being so big. You will end up with a big border and nothing but dough. Luckily, my bratwurst alternative tastes quite good because you only get that. I knew the spinach flavor was gonna get lost and you don't really have much else in there except for maybe the bacon. You know what? Yes. I just don't know how I feel about this whole thing being a soup. I do think they would taste way better fried or with the sauce. You know what? Even though I've never had that experience, but it's still giving me the lunch at grandma's experience. Maybe I have to keep making it so that I eventually feel like I haven't missed out on anything. But I don't know if I'm gonna finish all of them like this. I think I'm gonna fry them for dinner or so. But hey, I'm really impressed by the flavor of the bratwurst. It's really good. For any one of you who has never had maltaschen, would you want to try this? I just feel like they would thrive way more in a different context. But I do like them. I actually do want to eat one more. The filling is just so unexpected. I like them now. Without the broth. And that's coming from a broth lover. Moving on to something that I should be really good at. It's making coffee. JK, I should also be really good at making the next recipe. I haven't made it before, but in a way. I'm excited for this because I always love this in theory. I don't really like it in general, but we're gonna make a little bit of a different version, so maybe I'm gonna like that version. Also, I've never had a properly homemade version of it, so maybe that'll be different. Anyway, I am talking about Windbeutel. Windbeutel are wind bags, also called cream puffs, apparently. I don't think they're inherently German. They more so seem French. Because of the choux pastry that you use to make it, and apparently they were very, very common in the DDR, the GDR rather, in East Germany. I don't know why, maybe because you don't need a lot to make them. I'm excited for this dessert though, and I should know it because I've made choux pastry even on this channel before. Definitely for churros, but I think for something else as well, but I've forgot. It's always a little bit interesting making choux pastry, but once that is done, I think it should be quite easy. And then again, that's like 90% of the whole thing, so it should be easy after that. Yes, let's just do it, okay? We're in this together. Okay, for the choux pastry, all you need is 75 grams of flour, 1 to 2 eggs, so that's a little bit difficult, 25 grams of butter, 125 milliliters of water, a pinch of baking powder. And choux pastry is difficult to make because of the temperatures. Also, you make it on the stove, which is not usually where you make dough. We start by heating up the butter and the water. I think it should even almost boil. And then with a wooden spoon, we stir in the flour until there's like a white film on the bottom of the pot. And then we'll have to wait for it to cool down, but let's get to that point first, yeah? I don't even remember water being involved. It's been a while. It was like one of my first recipes on this channel.
I welcome you from my kitchen.
Okay, are we ready? Let's go. Actually, I think you use a whisk. I don't think you use a whisk. I don't know what I was thinking. Technically, we've got the film already, but I'm gonna keep stirring because of the whisk incident, just for a little while. But we do have a nice little ball already. This is what we want. Now we just have to wait for it to cool down. Obviously, we can't really put eggs in there yet. I'm gonna put it into a bowl. Yeah, that's fine. Again, it's gonna be difficult with the baking powder, but maybe this much. Start with 1 egg. Ah, isn't that lovely? Now how do I make that come together? Not working otherwise. This seems wrong. I'll just keep beating. Yeah, I don't want to do this by hand. Patience, guys. However, it might be a little too thick, but I'm not sure. You're looking for it to drop slowly off your spoon and leave a V shape. I feel like mine is too thick. I'm gonna beat an egg in another, it's also called mug, Demi Lovato's best friend. And I'm just gonna add it bit by bit so that I can control it better. Okay. We got there. Now preheat the oven to 200 degrees Celsius. Barely needed that third egg. Get it into that piping bag somehow. Now we can pipe. I really only know the frozen version of these. So you can buy them frozen and then you defrost them and eat them. Sometimes I was naughty and I ate them frozen, but they're like bite size usually. These ones aren't. We're just gonna make little swirly swirls. Think about this size if we just go up, twist it off. Maybe even bigger, but let's not. So I'm gonna have like 4 of them. So you might wanna make a bit more of the dough. You know what? I'll take it. Into the oven they go for 20 to 25 minutes. Wish me luck. Oh, actually we can make the cream just because it's so easy to make anyway. 50 grams of quark. I don't know how to translate this. This is what excites me about this recipe because it's not filled with whipped cream, which is what you would usually expect in there. But I don't like that. And so I was happy to find out that the GDR used a healthier version of it. Probably cheaper, that's why they used it, maybe. As you can see, quark is kind of like, it's not cream cheese, it's softer, but I couldn't tell you. Then you add 2.5 of these soup spoons and a half of this pack of vanilla flavored sugar. It should be like 4 grams. It's very common in German cuisine. Yeah, and then you just turn it into a cream. I'm not sure that's gonna be enough for all of them. And then put it into the fridge until we can use it. Ta-da! They rose to the occasion. They're not exactly pretty. I don't know, maybe I should have like pushed each layer down a little bit because they kind of morphed it to a different shape, especially my last one. The other ones I'm kind of happy with. The only thing is I think I should have left them in the oven a little bit longer because they are still quite soft in some spots and I don't think they're supposed to be. I think they're supposed to have a nice crust, which it does have at some points. But I think it's safe to say that I have mastered the choux pastry, right? And I think this, again, is my 3rd time making choux pastry, and I don't know why I was afraid. I don't know why everyone has made me afraid. I don't know why everyone is afraid of choux pastry, because it seems quite simple. Maybe I'm just better than everyone. I can't really cut them open even because they have like this weird soft spot here and they don't really have an inside. This is the only one that has a proper inside. Like where do I even cut into now? Because this is so weirdly soft there. They are quite hollow, which is nice. That's how they're supposed to be. Take some of our cream and just... Oh my god, no. Maybe I should have taken a piping bag. It's the liquid anyway, it's not gonna look pretty. You can just dump it in there. I don't know how common this sort of cream is in it, or if whipped cream is more common, but I don't know. Let's just try it. Okay, we all know that I'm not into super sweet stuff, but there definitely is not enough sweetness in this. You have to really make this cream very sweet, because obviously we didn't put any sugar or so into the pastry itself. Also, obviously this doesn't have any flavor really. A bit of vanilla flavor, that's about it. I feel like we need a jam in there as well. Remember last week when I made my peanut butter? No, because you haven't watched the video? Well, maybe you should. Not that it's super sweet, but I just want to try it. That's tasty though. See, I didn't understand why we added milk to the cream in the first place. I definitely don't get it now. The pastry itself is really, it's giving German. At the same time, I'm like, Is this better than the frozen version? I need to stop. Moving on to the final recipe, and it has such a weird name that I have to look it up again. Kirschsuppe mit Klüt. Mit Klüt. I have no idea what Klüt even is. Not even in German. Don't know how to translate it. I had never heard of it. So it's like cherry soup with clit. I don't know, but it looked absolutely crazy. It's not really difficult to make. I'm just like, who thought of this? Especially if it looks like that. So I'm guessing there must be a reason, and we have to figure out why. A cherry soup. Into it, you put dough that then I guess cooks in that soup, and then you eat it. Here's what you need for the soup first. You need about 70 grams of sour cherries, half a soup spoon of sugar, half a pack of this vanilla sauce mix situation. That's what you make the soup with. And then for the dough, you need 125 grams of flour, 1.5 eggs. So I'm gonna use this and just the rest that I still got. 1.5 soup spoons of sugar, half a pack of this vanilla sugar, a pinch of salt, and just 62 milliliters of milk. If you're as excited as me, then let's start making it. We start by mixing this vanilla sauce mix with just a little bit of the juice that the cherries come with, or come in. Now we've got this gelatinous situation here. Anyway, the soup. Yeah, well, we just dump the cherries with the juice into a pot and then also add the sugar. Now we bring this to a boil. Once they're boiling, we add our vanilla sauce mixture and try to incorporate it, which works surprisingly well. Now we just let this boil on low heat until we can continue. For a little lumps or kind of sort of dumpling situation, we're just gonna mix the rest of the ingredients. Technically with a dough hook. Sugar. I'm actually not sure if it's supposed to be this liquid, but maybe it is. Because now we just kind of have to take one of these soup spoons or a ton of spoon, and then you just dump it in there. Okay, apparently this has to cook for like 10 minutes now. I don't know if I'm allowed to stir this or... Okay. You heard it here. I'm so excited. Kirschsuppe mit Klüt. Oh, my camera died. It did not want to pick this. Okay, honestly, like it might just be me seeing this in person right now, or it really just does look better than in the photos. Like it doesn't look that bad, right? And it does look pretty bad on camera. I just have a lot of questions. Also, I feel like I don't have enough soup. Ew. It's giving like, I don't know, Grey's Anatomy, and I'm taking out someone's intestines, or let's just not go there. I hope everything is cooked. Like I cut all of these pieces into smaller ones. I'm not gonna say no to this. Hey, tell me how to say no to this. But I also would never make this again. I don't understand. The dough in there does give it some chewiness, which is nice, of course. It's only like carbs in there to give it a little bit of texture, because it's not like it has any flavor. But you know what, guys? I think it'll be really great with my Vinsainto. I'm sure. This is exactly like what I needed, you know? The Vinsainto, a cherry sauce. Now I just need the quark. Now we're talking. So as a cherry sauce, I get it. I can get behind it. As a cherry soup with Klüt, I don't know about that. Germans have some explaining to do. In this case, I am not German. Unfortunately, this just kind of confirms what we all think about German cuisine. That it's not that great. Okay, so this was an interesting experience, to say the least. I mean, I did like the ravioli wannabes, what are they calling it? Maltaschen. I mean, I do like Vinsainto. I just need to perfect my way of making them and maybe not make them with quark. Who thought of this? I just need answers. See, I was just gonna go in for another spoon. I feel my mouth needing more sweetness. Just like your eyes. But you will only get it again next week. because this video is over. And where else will you find sweetness if not on my channel? Well, lucky for you, there are a couple hundred other videos that you can watch. Until next week. That's it, guys. I am boiling, so I'm gonna need to jump into some water. Let's see if I'll find a body of water to jump into in this apartment. I'll tell you next week if I've found one. But until then, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Entonces, nos vemos la próxima vez. Yes, you're right. Y bye.